Welcome to the Morris County Chamber of Commerce and the Morris County Economic Development Corporation. Well, today we're excited. We're going to cover a topic that's very important: breaking mental barriers to achieve success. One of the areas that I've studied in my graduate studies is how to overcome those mental blocks that keep us from moving forward, that keep us from succeeding, that keep us sometimes from even trying to try new things. And during this season of COVID-19, we've seen that our program has helped many people because there's a need. There's a need to break those mental barriers and to believe in yourself and to achieve what you thought you could not achieve. So we're going to ask the people that as you're logging in to please mute yourself. We want to thank the Morris Chamber of Commerce, our president, Megan Hunter, who's made this available to you in order to better serve you through the Economic Development Corporation. We also thank those that are connecting with us today on Facebook Live, and also those that are connecting with us here in the Zoom program. So I'm going to start right away with our PowerPoint. And I'm going to take you through a series of steps. This program is going to go 4 weeks. What I'm hoping is that you will gain something from this and that you will open yourself up to the possibility of trying new things, to the possibility of trying to break out of those mental barriers. Some of them, those barriers, we have been taught those barriers. And it's time to break free, and it's time to do new things and get creative ideas and to develop new mental thinking in order to achieve success. We hear from Michael Jordan. He says, if you run into a wall, don't turn around and give up. Figure out how to climb it, go through it, or work around it. It's so important that when you hit barriers in life, you don't stay stuck, but that you find an alternative, find a way to go around it, find a way to overcome that obstacle. The problem with many of us is that when we face that first obstacle, we usually give up, or we get complacent, or we get afraid. But as Michael Jordan says, let's climb it, let's go through it, let's work around it, but let's accomplish that we've set our hearts to accomplish. Never lose sight of your business vision and why you launched it in the first place. Sometimes as we go through our business career, we forget why we started in the first place. What was the mission? What was the vision that we initially had when we started our business? Sometimes we forget. What I'm hoping is that you will take this season and step back and reflect. You know, why did I start this business? Why did I start this new project? What was the vision before obstacles got in the way? Success is a mindset. How to cultivate positive thinking. What I'm hoping is in these next 4 weeks to get you to that place, to renew your mindset and to figure out, how am I going to succeed? What am I going to do to break the barriers? What am I going to do to go higher than I've ever gone before? What am I going to do to cultivate positive thinking? How do I break free from erroneous zones? I got that from Dr. Wayne Dyer. So many of us have grown up with negativity around us most of our lives, and we've lost sight of who we are. We've become what the people want us to be, but we've lost sight of who we are. What do we like? What do we love? What do we want to do? What do we want to accomplish? How to regularly reprogram your mind. It is so important that we understand that our feelings are a byproduct of our thoughts, our thinking. It is our thinking that feeds our feelings. So if we're able to reprogram our mind, we are able to reprogram how we feel, especially when we're facing difficult and challenging situations. Do you still see the vision? Do you still see it? Has it gotten murky? Especially in the time of COVID right now, and we're dealing with so many shifts and changes and transformation and battles, ask yourself, is the vision still intact? Do I still see it? Do I still feel it? Do I still see the picture in front of me of why I started this in the first place? Do I see myself accomplishing it? Do I see myself meeting my goals? Will I meet my challenge? Will I make it to the other side? You need to bring those feelings back. Jamel Sanders says this: clearly, success is not the product of much reading. Success is the product of reprogramming our thinking. Success is always connected to a thought pattern. Negative and toxic thoughts rob us of the ability to think clearly and create a life of success. Boy, is that statement true. Yes, responses indicate personal mastery and effective choice making. Dr. Wayne Dyer. Let's take our analysis by choosing by the choices that we are making. Do you believe that your mind is your own? I want you to think about that. Do you believe that your mind is your own? I want you to write these down. Are you capable of controlling your own feelings? Are you motivated from within rather than from without? Are you free from the need of approval? Do you set up your own rules, how you are going to conduct yourself? Do you accept yourself and stop complaining? Are you free from hero worship? Are you a doer rather than a critic? Can you avoid describing yourself in absolute terms? My goal is, as we go through these 4 weeks, to get you to look in deeper into self. Especially, do you believe that your mind is your own? Do you believe that you control your thoughts? Do you believe that only you can control your feelings? Whether it's the feeling of success or the feeling of defeat, you control both feelings through the thoughts that you allow into your mind. So it's very important that during these next 4 weeks, write these down, because we're going to cover each one, and you're going to overcome negative thoughts and erroneous zones that keep us from accomplishing our goals. Sometimes we set our own barriers. We were created to succeed. We were created to have victory. We were created to triumph in all that we do. But we often put barriers in the way. Sometimes we are our worst enemy, and we keep ourselves from accomplishing those goals that were set before us, that we were supposed to accomplish, that we can accomplish, that we have the capability and we have the skill set to accomplish. But fear has paralyzed us. The feeling of fear has paralyzed us, because in our mind, we don't see ourselves succeeding, but we're full of fear, we're full of doubt. So we're going to break those mental barriers during these next 4 weeks. How do you feel about yourself? Can you love yourself at all times? We're going to think about these questions. Can you love yourself at all times? Can you grow your own roots? Have you eliminated dependency relationships? Have you eliminated all fault finding in your life? Are you free from feeling guilty? Can you avoid worrying about the future? Can you give and receive love? Can you avoid immobilizing anger in your life? Have you learned to fail effectively? Have you eliminated procrastination in your life? That's a big one. Because as humans, especially when we face something difficult, it is so easy to procrastinate. It is so easy to put it aside. It is so easy to avoid it, out of sight, out of mind. Can you enjoy spontaneously without having to plan? Can you appreciate great humor? Are you treated by others the way you would like to be treated? Are you motivated by your potential for growth rather than a need to repair your deficiencies? In other words, how much do you accept yourself? Can you build your own roots, or are you trying to fill somebody else's shoes? See, when you start to feel good about yourself and you start to see yourself as successful, you start to see yourself as, I'm capable, I've got the skills, I've got the potential, I've got the ability. You start to eliminate dependency relationships. In other words, you don't need someone to make you happy. You don't need someone to help you succeed. You have to believe in yourself. You have to break free from the mental block that's keeping you from launching forward and accomplishing all that you have been called to accomplish. Have you learned to fail effectively? I love that one because every failure is an opportunity to learn. Now, I know that that sounds cliche to some people, but one of the things I've learned is that the more you put into practice learning, not beating yourself up, but looking at every situation in life as a lesson, and then taking those lessons and becoming better and becoming greater. Remember, your life is here for a very short period of time. And how many years have we wasted trying to be somebody else, or trying to please someone, or trying to satisfy everyone around us, but we've never reached that place of feeling good about ourselves and doing what we love and what we want. So we end up building dependency relationships where we depend on someone to make us happy, or someone to help us feel confident, and someone to help us feel like we're going to succeed, when all that is within you. You don't need anybody else but yourself, and to believe in yourself, to step out of that safe zone. See, today, what I want you to do is to start thinking out of the box. How do I get out of my safe zone in order to succeed? How do I declare my next victory? How do I bounce back in such a way that nothing will be able to hold me back, but my mental barriers are broken? I am free. I'm thinking clearly, I'm seeing clearly, I'm moving clearly, and I cannot be stopped. Taking charge of yourself. The first step in breaking mental barriers is learning how to take charge of yourself. The essence of greatness is the ability to choose personal fulfillment and circumstances where others choose madness. Have you given up control of yourself, your desires, your dreams, and wants just to fit in? We live in a world that everybody wants to fit in. We live in a world that everybody wants to belong. So I ask you, what have you given up just to fit in and maybe be accepted by your peers? What dream do you have that you've put on hold because it doesn't run parallel with what your friends want, your family wants, your wife wants, your coworkers want? What have you stopped that in this season you need to stir it up and pursue your dream and pursue that is before you? If you don't stop right now and be honest with yourself, you will live an entire lifetime the way others say you must live it. Now that's powerful. See, you got to get to the place of asking yourself, am I living the life I want to live, or am I living the life that somebody has told me I have to live, and they've also told me how I have to live it. You don't stop right now, you will never live the life you've been called to live. But you will always be what someone else expects you to be. And you get home and you're frustrated and you're unhappy, and sometimes depression creeps in because you know what you want, you know what you desire, you know what you're dreaming about, but you dare not step forward because you're afraid. What are they going to think? What are they going to say? If you're worried about that, you will never live your dream. You will never live your vision. You have to break free from those erroneous zones. You have to break free from that type of thinking. Is the life that you are living right now pleasing and fulfilling to you? I'm not asking you to answer the way you're expected to answer. I want you to ask yourself, honestly, and maybe you can't do it right now. Maybe you're going to have to get alone in a room until you're not alone anymore, and get with your conscience, and get with your mind, and get with your spirit from within. And ask yourself, am I pleased with my life? Am I living a fulfilled life? Can I truly say that I am happy? Can I truly say that I have joy? Can I truly say that this is the life I've wanted to live and to lead? Success will require for you to be present at all times. Stop living a passive life because you give your attention to everything and everyone at the same time. Don't you know that most people are not successful because we allow people to put stuff on our plate that should not be on our plate? So what happens? We're yes people often. And if we're constantly saying, yes, I'll do it. Yes, count on me. Yes, depend on me. And things just keep coming on your plate, coming on your plate, coming on your plate. You'll never be able to enjoy the present. What I'm called to do. What I want to do. What I think will make me successful. You know, the barrier is going to come. But how do you overcome the barrier when you can't focus 100% on that barrier because you have all these things pulling for your attention? You have all these responsibilities that do not allow you to be present because you're constantly in one meeting, but your head is already in the next meeting, or the next meeting, or the next thing, or the next assignment, or the next mission. Be present. One of the things that I tell people, if you want to succeed mentally and to break mental barriers, it starts by being present. You know, I've learned to put my cell phone away. I've learned that when I'm in a meeting, if I can't give you 100%, I don't book the meeting. Why? It's disrespectful to you, and it's an injustice to me. If you have something valuable to share with me, then you deserve my undivided attention. Don't you know that opportunities are missed because we're so busy with things that are of less value, and the things that are really, really important, we do not give it the effort nor the time to push us forward because we put everything at an equilibrium of importance. This is important, that's important, that's important. Everything has got the same level of importance, and we're never present. Even when we're with our families, instead of enjoying the time, happiness, eating a meal, cracking jokes, laughing, we're on our cell phone. We're not present. And whenever you're not present, you might miss opportunity. As a matter of fact, oftentimes, opportunities we've missed is because we were not 100% attentive. What if the question that was asked, what if the discussion that developed while you were in the room was a discussion that, had you paid attention, could have elevated your career. You could have resolved the problem and make profit by resolving that problem. Don't you know that that's all business is? Business is discovering a problem, providing a service for that problem to resolve that problem, and getting paid for it. Don't you know that many of us are spinning our wheels, doing the routines, becoming robotic, and because we're not present, we're not able to see the opportunities that are right in front of us, especially now with COVID-19. We're home, we're stuck. What opportunities have opened up for you that can make you more successful? Maybe you got to step up. Maybe you got to do more Zoom. Maybe you have to do things a little bit different. But what opportunities are out there right now that can really change your life and give you a better living, a better future? But you're thinking on the old. You're stuck on the old patterns. You're stuck on the routine. Most of us live a scripted life. You got to break free from that and be present. And when you're present, you see opportunity. But when your mind is cluttered with 1,000 things, you're not going to see the opportunities that are right in front of you. But you're going to constantly be on a spin. You're constantly going to be receiving partial information because you're living passive. I'm so busy, I hear a little bit of what you say, but I'm not really hearing all that you're saying. So I'm kind of passive. I'm kind of not all the way there. So it's very important that as a leader, you're present. Because when you're present, you're going to detect opportunities. And all it takes, especially in this season of COVID, is to detect an opportunity and jump on it. It could change your life. Maybe there's something, a new job opening. Maybe there's a new career move that you can make. Maybe there's a new educational opportunity. Maybe being at home is a new opportunity to get a new license. What is it that you could have done or you can do right now that you're on lockdown that otherwise you could not do, but because you're not living present, you're missing that opportunity? So you think about it, but because it's hard, or you talk yourself out of it. See, that's what happens with our mental. You know, our frontal lobes are receiving. The conscience is constantly receiving information. And the conscience is that part of the brain that says in the morning, you know, I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to eat healthy, I'm going to take care of myself, I'm going to talk to my banker, I'm going to get an equity line, I'm going to open my business, I'm going to be successful. That's your conscience. The frontal lobe receiving information, I want to do it. But what happens? If you don't renew your thinking patterns, as soon as you get to your car, as soon as you get away from the group that you were motivated saying, I'm going to open my own business, I'm going to succeed, your subconscious creeps in. And the subconscious is that part of the brain that records our bad experiences, our fears, everything we've lacked, everything that's held us back. And what do? We start to believe the subconscious, and now the subconscious starts to talk us out of it. You know, don't go to the gym today, go tomorrow. You know what, you don't have time for that today. If you start that, you're not going to be able to follow through. Just don't start it. You're not ready to start it. You know what, that's going to fail. You know what, other people have tried that and they haven't made, they didn't make it. You know, you're not going to make it. Don't even try it. So we allow our subconscious to hijack our conscience, our mind, our thinking. And because the subconscious is throwing all the negatives, all the reasons why you can't make it, all the reasons why somebody else can make it but not you, you start to feel depressed. But where did that depression come from? It came from my thoughts of failure. So in other words, by choosing my thoughts, have chosen my feelings of being depressed. Same way, if you're motivated and say, you know what, you tell the subconscious, we're going to do this, we're going to go for it, we're going to succeed, and you start to feel that fire in your belly. When now you start to feel happy, you start to feel motivated. I'm moving towards my goal, I'm going to do it. So your fire did not just happen. Your fire is stirred up by your thoughts. And those thoughts of success have created the feeling of happiness and success. So we can otherwise, through our thinking, move ourselves forward, or we can hijack ourselves and hold ourselves back and prevent ourselves from moving forward and really being successful. So it requires, you must be present. What is your daily order of priority? I want you to think about that. When you wake up in the morning, what's your order of priority? Does your day go as planned, or is it dictated by those around you? Be honest. I tell successful leaders, set a plan. Have a schedule. Schedule yourself. Have a day planner. Put every task on your day planner. And then at the end of the day, before you close business, before COB, sit down and ask yourself, in the morning, this was my order of priority. Now at night, you evaluate. Did I reach my goals? Did I accomplish everything that I set myself to accomplish? Or what did I miss? And those things that I did not accomplish, though I had set myself to accomplish them, those things that I did not accomplish, why? What's the reason behind it? What caused me not to make it? What caused me to not succeed? What prevented me from accomplishing that task? You will find out that sometimes a lack of priority, a lack of goal setting, or just letting other people control your schedule by letting them feel that they're free to bombard your desk with all kinds of stuff, not caring about your feelings, not caring about your emotions, not caring about your priorities, and throwing everything on your desk, causing you to miss your points of accomplishment. So that's important. One key mental block to success. Let's read this. Tom, a young executive who spends most of his time agonizing over the fact that his boss thinks he is stupid. Tom is very unhappy because his boss has a low opinion of him. But if Tom didn't know that his boss thought he was stupid, would he still be unhappy? Of course not. How could he be unhappy about something he didn't know? Therefore, what his boss thinks or doesn't think doesn't make him unhappy. What Tom thinks makes him unhappy. Moreover, Tom makes himself unhappy by convincing himself that what someone else thinks is more important than what he thinks. The same logic applies to all events, things, and persons' points of view. Someone's death does not make you unhappy. You cannot be unhappy until you learn of the death. So it's not the death, but what you tell yourself about the event. How are you choosing to react to life and to your daily circumstances? So in other words, if Tom did not know that his boss thought he was stupid, then that would have a zero effect. We only get affected by what we know. So in other words, the circumstance itself doesn't cause a feeling or have a cause or effect. Because if someone dies and I'm not aware of it, then there's no cause and effect. They died, but we're not attached. So because I'm unaware that they died, it does not have a cause and effect on me. But now when someone notifies me and says, Ed, I must bring to your attention, so-and-so died. Now, I am going to react based on the information I'm receiving, which is going to lead me to my thoughts, which then my thoughts are going to lead to my feelings. So it wasn't the death itself that caused an effect on me, but it's my thinking after I received the information of death. Now my thinking has a choice to make. How am I going to think about it? Because that thinking is going to lead to my feelings. So why is this important? Because sometimes we give outside sources way too much power about how I'm supposed to feel, how I'm supposed to act, how I'm supposed to react. So it is imperative that we learn to control what comes through the ear filters, and that we bring that into our thoughts, and that in our thoughts, we choose how we're going to feel. Taking control of our feelings, taking control of our thoughts. I don't want to react how the people expect me to react. I want to react how I know this is going to help me deal with it, because however I choose to think is going to affect my feelings, and my feelings are going to affect my heart, and my heart is going to control my whole neurological system. So now my body is reacting. My body is reacting to my thoughts, which created my feelings. So why is this important? Because until we change our patterns of thinking, and even what the culture has programmed us to think, we're not going to break free. Let's look at another important view. Hurricanes aren't depressing by themselves. Depression is uniquely human. If you are depressed about a hurricane, you are telling yourself some things that depress you. This is not to say that you should delude yourself into enjoying a hurricane, but ask yourself, why should I choose depression? Will it help me be more effective in dealing with it? We must break free from debilitating thinking patterns that make us weak. See, the hurricane is going to come. You know, recently we had news that hurricanes were going to hit the islands, Puerto Rican, the Cayman Islands, etc. The hurricane is coming. The hurricane itself does not control my feelings. As a matter of fact, the hurricane itself has a zero effect on me. However, how I choose to think about the hurricane is what's going to dictate my feelings. So then if I ask myself, why should I choose depression? Why should I choose being angry? Why should I choose being upset? Why should I choose being confused? See, when we learn the power of controlling our thinking, which leads to our feelings, then the circumstance is going to happen. Events are going to happen. I use the equation, and I share this in most of my classes. Events plus response equals outcome. So events are going to come, ready or not. How I respond is always going to lead to my outcome. So when I want to have control, and I want to be successful, and I want to break free from mental barriers, it starts by me taking control how I choose to feel. See, Not what people expect me to feel, how people expect me to feel, how people expect me to act. See, we live so much controlled by people and controlled by the culture that we sometimes do not feel the way we want to feel. We feel the way we're expected to feel. So the hurricane is coming. But if I start breaking free from this debilitating thinking patterns that make me weak, anger, depression, oppression, sadness, losing my mind, those debilitating patterns are making me weaker, not stronger. So then you got to say to yourself, I want to succeed. So if I want to succeed, how do I make myself stronger? How do I renew my thinking patterns, which are going to control my feelings, and in turn, I make myself stronger? You have grown up in a culture, you and I, has taught us that you are not responsible for your feelings, even though the syllogistic truth is that you always were. You've learned a host of sayings to defend yourself against the fact that you do control your feelings. Look at this next screen. Let's review a list of what we love and what we've learned to utter to ourselves. Let's look at the culture. You hurt my feelings. You hurt my feelings. You make me feel bad. I can't help the way I feel. I just feel angry. Don't ask me to explain it. I just feel angry. He makes me sick. Heights scare me. You're embarrassing to me. She really turns me on. You made a fool of me in public. Now, we've learned this and we utter these words without thinking. What is the message? External forces are responsible for how I feel. And scientifically, and according to Dr. Wayne Dyer, former psychiatrist, not true. The list is potentially endless. Each saying has a built-in message that you are not responsible for how you feel. Now rewrite the list so it's accurate. So it reflects the fact that you are in charge of how you feel and that your feelings come from the thoughts you have about anything. Let's rewrite those for a minute. Let's rewrite and let's reprogram ourselves. I hurt my feelings because of the things I told myself about your reaction to me. Wow. I made myself feel bad. I can't help the way I feel, but I've chosen to be upset. I've decided to be angry because I can usually manipulate others with my anger since they think I control them. I make myself sick. I scare myself of high places. I'm embarrassing myself. I turn myself on whenever I'm near her. I made myself feel foolish by taking your opinions of me more seriously than my own and believing that others would do the same. Now, when you look at these, culturally, we're not used to this. Because we've grown up in a culture, you make me feel, you do this to me. And one thing that science proves is that nobody's got control of your mind but you. Nobody's got control of your thoughts but you. So we have to break ourselves from these self-defeating patterns, these self-defeating ways of thinking, and finding ways to break out and to really succeed. and to look at ourselves as positive. Is it just a figure of speech? The list one, some will say are just a figure of speech and that they really don't mean very much, but are simply figures of speech that have become cliches in our culture. If this is your rationale, then ask yourself why the statements in the list two did not evolve into cliches. The answer lies in our culture, which teaches the thinking of list one and discourages the logic of list two. The message is clear. You are the person responsible for how you feel. You feel what you think. And you can learn to think differently about anything if you decide to do so. Ask yourself, if there is sufficient payoff in being unhappy, down, or hurt, then begin to examine in depth what kind of thoughts are leading you to these debilitating feelings. What is causing you to instead operate from a position of strength, a position of power, a position of control? It's causing you to walk in debilitating feelings. See, when we begin to stop self-defeat, see, we are oftentimes our worst enemy. And we defeat ourselves by thinking negative, by thinking lack, by getting angry, by allowing circumstance to control our emotions, by allowing our subconscious to hijack our conscience. See, we allow ourselves to become weak by what we allow to live in our heads. I tell my people often, your happiness cannot be in somebody else's head. Now, what I'm teaching is not normal to the culture, because today's culture is the blaming and complaining, And I'm here to tell you, you can blame, you can complain, and nobody's going to change your life until you take the first steps. You're not going to break from mental barriers until you take the first steps and say, I'm changing my thinking patterns because my thinking patterns are controlling my feelings, and my feelings are preventing me from living the abundant life I've been called to live. There's so much in me. There's so much potential. There's so much knowledge. There's so much skill. There's so much ability. But I allow all external forces to make me feel bad, to feel broken, to feel rejected, to feel that I'm not good enough. So I'm allowing all external forces to affect me internally and stealing from me my freedom. You will not break free until you renew that spirit of your mind and get to a place of, I am in charge of my thoughts and I'm in charge of my feelings, and I'm not going to let any patterns that are going to debilitate me moving forward. It is not easy to start thinking in new ways and start breaking bad habits that for years have been given permission to beat us down. I'm not telling you you're going to do this overnight. I'm not telling you that you're going to click your fingers and you're going to be positive and you're going to be ready to take on the world. I am going to tell you it's going to take work. It took a lot of work for me. It took many years for me to stop living the life people wanted me to live. It took me years to break free from the patterns that I was living that were in accordance to what people wanted me to do and how people wanted me to live. Image had become more important to me than reality. And then one day I sat there and I asked myself the question, Ed, what are you doing? You are to live the abundant life. You are to control your own emotions and your own feelings. You are not to allow others to live in your head. Once I did that, my life changed in ways that I could not imagine. I'm successful in what I do what I want to do, and I'm no longer controlled by people, circumstance, family members, or patterns that people have placed for my life. This is what I want you to do. This is the way I want you to live. My friend, At the end of our journey of this life, you don't want to say, well, I lived the life everybody else wanted me to live, but the life I was supposed to live. So I want you to think about that for a moment. Learning not to be unhappy. Wow. Especially in COVID-19, especially with all that we're facing. It's not easy to develop new patterns of thinking. Many people are accustomed to a certain set of thoughts and the debilitating thoughts that follow. It requires a great deal of work to unlearn all of the habits of thought you have assimilated until now. Happiness is easy, but learning not to be unhappy can be difficult. Do you know that some people every single day choose to be unhappy? They're in a bad mood. The day bothers me. Everything bothers me. They're always screaming, always fighting. Have you ever met anybody like that? Nothing satisfies them. It's a constant fight. It's a constant argument. Happiness is a natural condition of being a person. The evidence is plainly visible when you look at young children. What is tough is unlearning all the shoulds and oughts that you've digested in the past. How many things have you put on yourself, expectations? That you know, I can't meet all them expectations. Who put them on you? You accept them, you put them on yourself. You got to get yourself free from that. Taking charge of yourself starts with self-awareness and your thoughts that are producing your feelings. Become self-aware. Become conscious of why I feel the way I feel. What am I allowing to live in my head that's stealing my happiness? Be present. Remind yourself of what you are doing at the present moment and live in that moment. New thinking requires an awareness of old thinking patterns. Have you put in thousands of hours to the reinforcement of such thinking? What are your thinking habits? You have to reprogram the scales with new patterns of thinking that will produce the feelings, that will create the fire in your belly to succeed and to break free from your mental blocks. I'm here to tell you that what's preventing you is you. You know, we could blame it and we could say, well, the CEO did not notice all my efforts and all my work. But I'm here to tell you that the mental block is created by us. Your ultimate thinking goal has to be freedom from mental barriers. Every time you become unhappy, you are subjected to some treatment you find unpleasant. So if I know that that unpleasant treatment is going to make me unhappy, then what I got to do is not accept that in my life anymore. Break free from it. Your time has come to take full control of your thinking patterns. Today we start by making a choice to be happy. I want you to think about this today. I'm making a choice to be happy. Unhappiness has no place in our thinking patterns, and no one person or anything external will control or limit my happiness. I want you to say that to yourself. Nobody controls my happiness but me. And starting today, I'm going to start developing patterns that are going to make me happy. Patterns that are going to cause me to live life excited. I'm going to be excited about my life. I'm going to live in victory. I'm going to triumph. I'm going to do new things. I'm going to break the barriers of fear, and I'm going to accomplish all that I've got the potential to accomplish. I will change. I should to I must. I want you right now. Whatever it is that you've been dreaming, whatever it is that's been preventing you from succeeding, all that you have been called to succeed. I want you to change I should to I must. Instead of saying I should lose weight, I must. I should go to school, I must. go to school. I should get my license. No, I must get my license. Today, I start seeing myself, and I want you to visualize your mental. See yourself as being successful and happy by changing your thoughts that will not allow me to be controlled by my circumstance. But I take full control of the circumstances around me. I am no longer controlled. I control my happiness. I control my feelings. I control my actions. And I take charge of my success and my mental freedom. Renewal of your thinking patterns will be your assignment for next week. This week, this is just an introduction. We're going to go in deeper next week. Thinking is the feeder to our feelings. Our feelings control our emotions. Our emotions get a hold of our hearts. Our hearts determine our success or our defeat. Have you ever heard somebody say, man, she, he, they have a lion's heart. They can't be stopped. They can't be stopped because it starts at the thinking. Because the thinking feeds the feelings. And when you've got feelings that you cannot be defeated, you cannot be conquered, you cannot be stopped, you start getting those feelings of, I've got authority, I've got power, I'm going to make it. I'm going to break out of this. Nobody controls me. I control myself. When you start thinking like that, you get that lion's heart, that warrior heart that cannot be stopped. When our heart is controlled by emotions, we stop being proactive, but are paralyzed by the grips of being reactive. We can't plan to succeed because we already have a defeated mindset. I want you right now. I want you to break free from a defeated mindset. I want you to get your mind and declare, my mind is free. My thoughts are clear. My feelings are on point. My feelings are intact. And I'm going to succeed. If our mind is positive, it will energize our potential to levels we have never experienced before. It's time to reprogram your thinking and to take control of your feelings. Nobody's stopping you, but you are stopping yourself. I want you to get that. You're not being stopped by society. You're not being stopped by another human being. You're being stopped by yourself. So this is my advice. Get up. Fight the good fight. It is time to make yourself happy and to give an eviction notice to those forces that for way too long have been living in your head. Look, it was around 2013. I've done a lot of things in my life. I've gotten a lot of education, career, blessings, prosperity, things I never imagined. But I said, enough is enough, and I took off me the expectation of the people. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be happy because I'm going to lead the life I want to lead. Not what people expect me to live, and not how people expect me to react, and not what people want. I'm going to live the life I've been called to live, and I'm going to be happy. And my friend, my life turned around in ways I never imagined. So again, breaking free from mental barriers to achieve success. Are you ready? If you are, I want you to inbox me. You can email me at Ramirez at morriscountyedc.org. You can go and register for next week's part 2. This is a 4-part program. I use a lot of Dr. Wayne Dyer's material, awesome material. I believe that if you break those mental blocks, you're going to succeed. I want you to get your friends. This is free. This is by our gracious president, Megan Hunsher, that's making this available through the Morris County Chamber of Commerce. It's free. I believe if you take what I'm telling you, and you break those mental barriers, you're going to succeed. You're going to go to levels you never, ever imagined. So, what do I have for you? Live successfully. Declare your victory today. Declare new thinking patterns. Today, begin to believe in yourself. Begin to declare in your thoughts, I'm going to make it. I'm going to succeed. Nothing is going to hold me back. There's no barriers. I'm going to do all that I've been called to do because this life is too short. I've wasted too many years. I'm going to get the fire in my belly and I'm going to accomplish that which I need to accomplish to succeed. Enough with delays. Is your season to rise up and become part of team success. I hope this has helped you. Register for next week. Hit me up. Let me know how you're doing, how I can help you, how can I serve you, because the Morris County Economic Development Corporation is here to serve you and to see you succeed. Thank you for joining us. See you next week, 12 noon. Thank you so much.